Thanks, gang. So I apologize. You know, usually when I come to events, I like to bring my best mustache. But I don't know if you know this. When you have a mustache and there is high humidity, everything goes to hell. So it's just going to get weird up here, all right? Like, by the time this is over, you're going to be like, what's going on his face? That doesn't look right. And usually Texas, right, you expect dry weather, but that's all right. That's all right. Tomorrow will be nice. So we have a lot to get through. As always, one of the things I like to do is make sure that you can get the slides online. And so you can see them there. They're at the URL bit.ly/backenemy. bit.ly/backenemy. And I'll have that URL at the end of the presentation as well. All right, so let's go back in time a little bit. Take you down to 2012. If you were in 2012 and you were doing SEO, generally speaking, if I wanted to rank for something like this, a salary comparison website, and I'm salary.com, in general, I could get to the top of the rankings and stay there so long as I did, you know, a few things. Had a crawlable site, some good keyword targeting, some links. You know, I want to have good relevant content, those kinds of things. But generally speaking, that would get me there, and that would keep me there, right? If I keep earning those nice links, stay relevant, I'm good. Even if the experience that users had wasn't superb, and this, oh my God, salary.com is lost. If there's someone here from that company, you got to convince your UX team to do something. That's just miserable. But like as long as you were basically out earning your competitors' links, you were probably going to stay on top, right? On Facebook, this is 2012, remember? On Facebook, like the likes and shares that you're getting, those basically determined how much you'd be in the newsfeed of your fans. And you remember what newsfeed rates were like in 2012? Like you'd have a Facebook page and it would get 10% visibility. And people were complaining. They were like, frassum. I got everyone to sign up for my Facebook page. You're only showing to 10% of my audience. And now we're like, please give me 1%, maybe 2%. It's crazy. Twitter, right? Visibility was purely just the timeline. In 2012, the only path to conversion that any of us had to worry about was essentially the CRO on our own sites. Right? We did not have to worry about CRO in exposure and discovery phases. We were really just concerned about visitors getting from pages on our site to other pages on our site. That's really all we needed, right? We could let the audiences in the discovery and the exposure phase self-select out. So if we drew in lots of visits from Google that weren't necessarily the people that we wanted on our websites, necessarily our audience, no big deal. No problem. They leave, they go away, they find whatever makes them happy. And the ones who do match with our audience, with what we're providing, they stick around. Great. Perfect. We know what our job is. CRO folks, you know what your job is. It's all good. All good. If salary.com went ahead and put a price here, right, in order to get a salary report, you had to, pay some money. You still actually have to, which is insane because every other salary calculator on the web is free. Hello. But, that was fine. It doesn't matter. The more qualified people, they'd go through there. Less qualified ones didn't. So why is 2016 so different? Like, what happened? Well, all right. One of the big things is that Google moved away from strict human input algorithms to a world of learning algorithms. I'll show you what I mean. So early on, right, Google is rejecting machine learning. They're basically saying, like, no, we do not want machine learning in our algorithm because it's hard to understand what might be going on. We don't necessarily know how a machine learning algorithm would treat certain metrics. We can't reverse and figure out why something's ranking somewhere. That is dangerous. Not into it. Amit Singhal, right, was actually, who was the head of core rankings and search quality for a long time, retired recently, but there you go. He had a philosophical bias for a long time against using machine learning in core rankings. And 2012 comes around, Google actually published a paper about how they were using machine learning, but in ad click-through rates. Like essentially they were saying, hey, you know what, we've done machine learning to figure out that which Google ads should show for which search phrases and which ones are likely to get engagement. Here's Susan Wojcicki. There's someone who is Polish who's in the audience who's cringing right now, and I'm really sorry about that. But Susan says, of course, Google engineers would come up with an acronym like SmartAss. Our SmartAss system is a machine learning system. It learns whether our users are interested in that ad and whether they're going to click on them. All right. And 2013 comes around. Now Google's search folks are talking about the potential of machine learning publicly. Here's Matt Cutts at PubCon discussing it. And then you probably remember last October, Google comes out with RankBrain. Well, they came out with it in the spring, but they announced it in October, right, saying, this is our AI-powered system for determining search rankings. And when machine learning takes over more and more of the underpinnings of what's going on in Google, things change quite considerably. We've already seen it, and we're going to see, I suspect, a lot more of it. So Google's actually public about how they use machine learning in a bunch of things, including image recognition and classification. This is from Jeff Dean's slide deck on deep learning. And the idea here, right, basically is that you take potential identification factors. So I've got a picture, and I'm Google. I want to figure out what is in that picture. I want to be able to classify and know what's in that picture. Have you used Google Photos? Like if you use Google Photos and you search for Austin, it will show you all the pictures that you've ever taken in Austin or of things that look like Austin. How? Well, it learned. And it learned by looking at all these ID factors, color, shapes, gradients, perspectives, all that kind of stuff. Then it took a bunch of training data, human labeled images, like, hey, computer, these are all pictures of Austin, Texas. And then it started figuring out, okay, I am learning the signals that correspond and correlate to Austin. Great. I've got my learning process, and that spits out a best match algorithm. Nice. So this is how you get from computer, here you go, take a look at that, to I figured it out, it's a cat, right? They're essentially scanning through all of these layers and layers of potential classifications and then figuring out the right one based on the factors in there. In search, it might work quite similarly, right? You take all the ranking factors you potentially can, whatever you want, page rank, TF-IDF, topic modeling, query deserves freshness, clicks, entity associations, any ranking signal you can possibly think of that you believe Google might use, they might take, throw into the system, take some training data, good versus bad search results. I'll show you some examples. And then have a learning process that spits out a best fit algorithm. So here's a good search result. This, by the way, is Jeff Dean over here. One of those, he sort of looks like a superhero. Like he's a shockingly good-looking computer programmer. No offense. Like they're, you know, they come in all shapes and sizes. And it's just unusual. I'm so screwed. I'm not going to be able to hire any engineers from Texas now. So, all right, you search for. Don't tweet that. Just keep it in the room. All right, so you search for Learn to Code. Here's Codecademy and Code.org and the TED blog where they have a bunch of places where you can learn. This is a good search result, right? Jeff's telling us, good search result. Why? Well, searchers usually, when they search for this, they don't change up their search. Like they're not unhappy with the results. They don't change it up. They don't go to page 2. They click on a result in the usual order, right? Like position 1 gets the most, position 2 gets the second most, that kind of thing. And they rarely need to revise their query. They don't click the back button. They're happy. Searchers are happy. This, on the other hand, how does Google's deep learning algorithm work? Well, not so good a result. I checked out the Wikipedia page. That's kind of useless. Most of these are useless. The Quora one's okay. You know, but I refined my query. I'm checking other things. Like I didn't get the answer I wanted. I don't think Google's actually going to give us the answer we wanted, but that's okay. So bad search result, right? People are short clicking, meaning they're only staying on a page for a short amount of time. They're bouncing back to the SERP. They're changing up the results. They don't like it. So the machines are going to learn to emulate the good and the bad results, right? right? That's their job. That's what machine learning means, right? So deep learning is actually even more advanced, slightly more advanced, right? The idea, I know it says it's inspired by how the human brain works. I think you can kind of ignore that. That's a red herring from my perspective. But basically, when Jeff Dean talks about this, he says, like, by using deep learning, they never had to tell the system that's a cat. The system figured out, they didn't call it cats, but they came up with a classification. The machine came up with a classification by itself. They just fed a bunch of images in, and then the machine sorted it and was like, this is a this. You know, it's a 12753A6F, right? And here's a bunch of them. We found lots of these on the internet, surprisingly dominant all over the web. And that's unsupervised learning, right? The idea is that we have the algorithms building the algorithms. You don't need us at all, right? Like, human beings, engineers, don't need them. I'm not saying we don't need them now, like we obviously still do. But the idea is that you don't need human intervention. The machines are determining the ranking factors themselves, right? Pretty cool. So last October, Google goes public with their use of this in RankBrain, right? And RankBrain, clearly an important signal. Google talked about specifically saying, like, it's the third most important signal, which we've gotten some clarification. That just means that if you look at the Google debugger, right, which shows you the algorithms and ranking factors that apply to any given search, it comes up the third most often. So it's not necessarily always third most important, it just comes up a lot, right? Because query interpretation from RankBrain is used a lot. And Google actually leverages this despite not knowing exactly what it's doing, right? Amit Singhal's concern that we might not know everything in a machine learning system. That's kind of true today, and Paul Har was nice enough to share that earlier this year in his slide deck. So this AI that Google has keeps growing in power. You saw the match against Lee Sedol. If any of you watched that, the Go match, there was one crazy game, I think it was the second game, where the Google AI made a move that was so insane that Lee had to like leave the room for 15 minutes and just walk around outside. Like, he was just completely thrown off. It's crazy. So, you know, no wonder, I mean, I have a lot of respect for Bill Gates and Elon Musk, but I don't understand the few $100 million fund they started to prevent Google from creating Terminators. Like, that was an odd news item. Sort of true. I think it may be an exaggeration, but we'll give benefit of the doubt. Google isn't actually alone here. Facebook's visibility algorithms, how do they work? Well, it turns out Facebook's got a machine learning system based on engagement. Makes total sense. Posts that get more engagement tend to be shown to more people, and they have predictive algorithms where they look at the posts and can say, hey, this is how much we think we should promote it. Twitter, same story, right? They've got this emerging visibility plan, and you can probably already see this some in your timeline, right? That they show you tweets you may have missed that they think will be engaging to you based on machine learning. What do you know? Instagram just announced, I think it was March 15th, right, that they're going to be showing a Facebook-like news feed where it doesn't just show you everything in order, it's going to show you the things that get the most engagement that they think you're going to like the most. I think there's this idea that like engagement's becoming the web's universal quality metric, right? It's how Google Suggest works, right? When I search for things, I search for Donald, I was hoping for duck, which is like way down there. I think that's the more quality of the two. But careful, it's Texas. Oh no, wait, Texas is like a Ted Cruz. All right, we're good. It's fine, okay. Whew, thank goodness. Chrome autocomplete, right? This is ordered by what I've engaged with and what contain those letters. Google Maps and local results. Part of the algorithm here is search volume, it's engagement, it's driving directions, right? It's what people engage with, which is sad, actually, because Sizzle Pie is fine, but you should really go to Ken's. Like, if you have a chance and you're in Portland, you should go to Ken's. Social networks, right? The trending content, that's all coming from engagement. Suggested accounts to follow, same story. It's the accounts that get the most activity, the most engagement, that they predict are going to hook you on their service. That's why they put them in there. Mustache going crazy. I can even feel it. What's important in Gmail, right? What goes in which tab? That's machine learned based on engagement. You go in the promotions tab, or you go in the social tab if they don't think you're going to be engaged with as much, if you're not of primary importance there, right? Lots of folks delete, lots of folks report spam, you're screwed. You're out of there. So there's like this idea that sites and brands across the web on virtually every platform earn this engagement reputation, and that determines our visibility. So, you know, I think this equation kind of sums it up nicely, right? The quantity of posts or emails or whatever, pieces of content or rankings, divided by the quantity of clicks, likes, shares, reactions, whatever you want to call it in that particular platform, determines that engagement reputation. Simple formula, simple concept, but very, very powerful. And the more machines learn based on this, which this is the output that's always going to be there, right? This is the output that all of those systems are searching for. Google wants higher clicks, more searcher happiness, more searchers searching. Facebook wants more engagement. Twitter wants more engagement. Instagram wants more engagement. Gmail wants more addiction. Every product wants that addiction, right? And this is how they're going to get it. So every time a visitor clicks the back button, that's sucking away at your reputation, at my reputation, at our reputation. And it's our job now to fight back against back. So I've got 5 tactics that I'm going to share with you that I think can be helpful here, that we've observed are pretty universally applicable. First one, understand and serve all of your visitors' intents. The important word here is all. Because back in the day, right, in 2012, we let the filter take care of it, right? We didn't have to convert everyone. We didn't have to help everyone. We could let just the few people who are relevant to us, who are willing to pay $90 for their salary report, go through the process. The rest of them, fine, forget it. Can't just ask who's my customer, right? We have to ask who are all the searchers and what are all of their needs. So if I'm searching for sitting versus standing desk, I can't just deliver commercial content. In fact, I looked and there's only one commercial player, one person selling standing desks in the top 3 pages of Google results for that query, right? That's just not the intent. And so no matter how many links they get, no matter how good their keyword targeting is, they're not serving the searcher. Google's not going to rank them, right? If the competition is delivering that value, in this case, lots of these folks are, well, you don't have a chance, right? That's just not how it's going to work. There it is, by the way. Oh, I was wrong. Page 4. Page 4 is the first commercial result that tries to sell me a standing desk. Kind of rough. Those folks are going to win the engagement battle, right? That's how engagement is going to work. All right, number 2. We've got to out-earn our rankings in search results in particular, but this could apply to any network as well, the average click-through rate. We're trying to out-earn that. So we want to optimize things like, you know, your title, your meta description, your URL, a little bit for keywords, sure, but a lot for clicks. A lot for clicks. So this is from a Moz post from Philip Petescu, and he's showing, right, like here is the average click-through rate for position 3. And the idea is that if you have a higher than average click-through rate for that position, over time, you're probably going to move up, right? You're drawing in more of these searchers. And in fact, for those of you who've been following, I do a lot of experiments on click-through rate as a ranking factor, and, well, I've had a bunch of successful experiments on that front. So in this case, all these elements are going to count. Does that title match what searchers want? Does the URL there, does it seem compelling, like it's going to have the content people want? Do you get that nice brand dropdown? See how space.com has that like little brand trust indicator? It's small, it's subtle, but it helps. Do searchers recognize that domain? Do they actually want to click on it? Or are they like, oh God, no, please, don't take me there. Forbes.com, like I see Forbes.com in the search results. Do you guys have this? And you're like, oh, I don't want to see the quote of the day. God damn it, like, All right. Is your search result fresh? If the URL there, if many search results on a search results page contain a date, a recent date, chances are good that you will not rank there unless you have published in a recent time frame, right? That's a filter Google uses. And then that description, right? It has to create curiosity and entice that click. This is now the job of the snippet, right? This is the kind of optimization. It's a CRO type job that SEOs have to do. Given Google tests results briefly on page runs, we know this is like a behavior that Google has, right? What they do, they'll take, you publish something new, right? And you might rank on page 1 for a day or a few hours, or you rank for some people. They kind of test you out, feel you out. And then you might fall back down, right? So if I know that, in this case, my post only made it to position 15. This is page 2. Position 15, I probably actually want to republish. Like, I want to take another stab at ranking for that because I didn't get the engagement I was seeking. I could try, boosting this with a bunch of links, but that old like hammer method, just not as effective as it used to be. Oops. So driving up that click-through rate, by the way, through branding, associating your domain positively with searchers, that might give you an extra boost. These right here, this is the top 10 insurance spenders in the United States. Top 10, all insurance, but car insurance in particular. Take a look at this. Car insurance quotes. You see something familiar? Number 2 ad spender, number 1 ad spender, number 4, number 3, number 5. That's high correlation. Right? Like, I'm not calling it causal, but I'm just going to put this out there. These guys, a few of these guys are not doing phenomenal SEO, but they're doing phenomenal branding, phenomenal brand marketing, and they're ranking, I think, partially as a result of that. This did not used to be the case. If you search for car insurance in 2010, 2011, it was getting better in 2012, but it was like carinsurance-info.net. And it was like, well, yeah, they really nailed that domain name. And Google Trends is now so customizable. Like, we can dig deep into this data and actually see ads and how they affect search behavior as they happen. So this is a search for Fitbit, right, in Google Trends. And you can see the spikes as Fitbit, well, this was during NFL season, every Sunday. They had a big ad campaign. They did some Saturday college games too, but you can almost track the difference between a Saturday college game and a Sunday game from Fitbit's advertising and the search results there. Pretty impressive. Number 3, optimize that signal-to-noise ratio on every channel. So, better content today might be better than more content. We had like a decade where more content, in a lot of ways, was better. That's not true anymore. A lot of SEO used to be this kind of thing, right? Brute quantity. Not so much. Today, you want better social shares, not more social shares. Good example here. So this is Facebook. When I have a successful Facebook post, and this is true for you guys too, like this is true for anyone who runs a Facebook page. See how I reached a lot of people here? Like, I reached like 9,000-ish people with this post, which is pretty good. I only have like 14,000 likes. That's a damn strong percent of my audience, like quite impressive, for me at least. And you can see that after each successful post, I have like more, whatever you want to call it, it's not edge rank anymore, but more ability in Facebook's system to reach more people with my next post. And when I have a crappy post, especially a self-promotional post, that goes down. Like my next post that I put on Facebook is going to be harder to get to people because that reputation is so tightly conjoined with how I perform. It's rough. Like I do that 8.6K and then I get 11.7K, but then I do some like self-promotional stuff and I get 4.6K and now I get 3.1 and yeah, it's just not great. Same story with email, better emails, way better than more emails. I'd much rather have a sender list, right, where I know I have high engagement, people care about my emails, they're reacting and responding positively. That comes from sender reputation, right? And there's all sorts of elements that go into that, but You can imagine a lot of it is engagement versus delete and report spam. Same story with rankings. You earn credit not just with an individual URL, but with a whole domain, right? Entire domains earn this sort of engagement reputation with Google. And if you have a reputation with Google that is, yeah, people bounce a lot and they click the back button and they choose someone else in the search results and they don't tend to like it when this site ranks, what happened to answers.com? What happened to wikihow.com? Like that kind of stuff? What happened to a lot of those content farms from a few years ago? Obviously, the Panda update was big, but engagement is also hurting those guys dramatically. Number 4, I think we got to put user experience first in our marketing. I know that may be uncomfortable. I see there's a couple guys in the back who are like, oh, shit. All right, I'll give you a brief checklist. Authoritative, comprehensive content that's uniquely valuable, not just unique, but uniquely valuable versus what anyone in your space provides. Speed, people love it fast. Delivers that great experience across every device, every browser. Compels people to engage, share, and return. And last but not least, avoids features that dissuade or annoy visitors. Overlays. Yeah, OK, I'll show you. Uniquely valuable content. This is an introduction to machine learning, topically relevant, via R2D3, and they do a phenomenal job. This piece of content is just tremendously, not just unique in its presentation format, but uniquely valuable. If you want to learn what machine learning is, even if you have no idea about programming at all, this resource will take you there. Lots of articles try to teach it to you. This one, massively successful. All right, speed. You probably don't need to hear any more about speed. Easy, enjoyable device. If you want to see a great example of incredible experience on any device, visit this link. You can see it in the slide deck on SlideShare. It's called Poor Kids of Silicon Valley. And on your mobile device, this thing is insane. It is just beautifully done. It is maybe the best piece of content I've ever seen on a mobile device in terms of just pure web content. Very, very impressive. That's what it looks like, right? So this screen, these graphs sort of animate in. It tells this story visually, graphically, in a way that I didn't really think was possible until I saw it. Very, very impressed. You want that engagement, sharing, and repeat visits. This is getY.fi. And in every city around the world, they've got all the Wi-Fi hotspots. So this is downtown Munich, which is where I was about a month ago. And you can see, like, oh, if I cruise by this hotel, they've got an open Wi-Fi, and it's free. Great. Awesome. That's going to get engagement. I'm going to repeat my visit there. I'm going to share it, which I did. Nothing that dissuades or annoys visitors. Oh, man. The ads, the distractions, the taking away from what people are trying to do, it's kind of a miracle that salary.com ranks at all, honestly. I don't know how they do that. This is Social Media Explorer. Have you guys been to that site? It's one of those places where you get an overlay and then you close it, and you scroll down a little, and you get another overlay, and then you close it, and then there's one more after this one. It's like am I allowed to say this? It's like the Neil Patel School of Marketing. He's very successful. Like, he has a huge email list and all this kind of stuff. But I just, anytime I'm like, oh no, Neil wrote an article that I have to read. All right, what do I have to say no to? No, I don't want to become a better marketer. No, I'm a horrible person and I don't care about anything. It just makes me feel bad to have to click on that stuff. So maybe this is going to convert visitors. Maybe this is going to convert more of your visitors into email subscribers. But maybe it's also going to convert more of them into back button clickers. And you have to decide. You have to decide where that balance lies for you. You have to decide on, do you want engagement, or are you just trying to convert, and are you willing to burn your brand engagement reputation to do that? And it's your call, right? Cyrus, for example, runs a few different websites, Cyrus for Moz. And you can see what happened to his traffic and search rankings after he removed the ads from one of his sites. They weren't super aggressive ads, but turns out ads inversely correlated with rankings, some of the time at least. All right, last one. We got to craft compelling calls to action even at the top of the funnel. Even at the top of the funnel. So top of the funnel content, we're typically not thinking about like, well, oftentimes we're just thinking about how do we convert people to the next step. But we don't get to choose anymore. Like, we don't get to filter out the non-customers from this anymore. Right? Fighting back against back means we got to serve that broader audience. In this case, AngelList's tool is so compelling, so remarkable, does such a good job of engagement, serves up the salary data in such a way that I don't know why I'd ever visit salary.com or this Pekara group guys. And you can see, there you go. What are startup salaries? #1 result. Not like the best SEO in the world, but they rock it on the content. Oops. So we can also do this by getting more precise with our search targeting. Right? So like, instead of targeting a very, very big term and then serving only a small set of that group, we can say, you know what? I only want to serve these folks. I'm going to keep targeting smaller, more direct queries, like startup founder salaries instead of salaries or salary comparison. I think that is a very, very smart approach, because then you can do more of it, and it's actually less competitive, easier to rank for all that stuff. Any way you cut this, I think engagement metrics are going to become, on our content, will become KPIs, right? Not just for performance on our site, but also for that brand engagement reputation. Our content calls to action, right? These deserve the same love that you give the landing pages that are supposed to convert visitors, the shopping cart pages, the checkout pages, all that stuff. Welcome. Welcome to 2016. It's a weird world. It's a world of engagement and reputation based on that engagement. I think we know that these machines are going to be judging us. They are not empathetic and kind machines. They just have their algorithms. But we got some tricks up our sleeve too. So let's fight back against back. Thank you very much.